Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in on today's latest episode. Thank you. And we are not on mute, but apologies about yesterday night. But hopefully, you've been looking after yourselves in the heat as well. So I know it's classing as obviously a heat wave in the UK, but let me know if you are in the UK or around the world. Around the world's got much better weather than standardly in the UK. But if you want to keep up to date on all things Liverpool related or football news as well throughout the week, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below as well, most importantly, and put your bell notification on, as I said. But tonight's episode, not going to be a long one, but we'll have a little look in terms of Matheus Nunes in relation to comparison. I've compared him to two players in which a lot of Liverpool's fan base are very much would like Liverpool to pursue in the next couple of years if those players do come available. Obviously, Barella and Jude Bellingham, two of the big names that Liverpool teams and fans and everyone would like to see Liverpool. But we know Jude Bellingham is not going to be happening this summer. It's potentially looking like next year he could be getting, not just for Liverpool, but for a whole host of top elite level teams will be pursuing him. But Matheus Nunes, he's been a name in which that has crept up, as I've said, over the last couple of weeks as well. I've not seen a lot of this lad. I've done a little bit of revision and we'll have a look at his stats anyway. But most importantly, if you've seen a lot of this lad, please do let everyone know in the comments what are his biggest attributes anyway, if you're a fan of obviously the Portuguese league. I know quite a couple of these are as well, so do let us know. Or if you're a fan of, if you're a Sporting Lisbon fan, or if you're a fan of another team, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well, because he's a very talented midfielder anyway, that would, with his attributes, cater to a lot, not just Liverpool, but a whole host of European clubs anyway. But let me know your thoughts, everyone. We'll get to all your comments as well that are live. Aaron, sounds okay, mate. As I said, nice one to every single one of yous. And as I said, I've got my phone facing me now, so I can see my notifications. Paul, how you doing, mate? Thank you very much for tuning in. Absolute bloody legends. Simon, do you think we'll get him? And do we need another midfielder? Yes, we do need another midfielder, Simon, especially obviously off the back of obviously Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain getting another muscle injury, as we spoke about Jurgen Klopp's quotes in the press conference yesterday at the back end of the show. Whether it's Nunes or whether it's another player as well, we need to bring in a bit more. The one aspect in which Matheus does offer Nunes, he's very good in terms of his obviously passing accuracy, which we'll dive into tonight. Most importantly, in his ball retention in midfielder and Sutton Liverpool, when Thiago Alcantara doesn't play, it's a good aspect, one of the biggest aspects in Naby Keita when he does play as well. Probably one of Liverpool's best ball carrying midfielders when he is fit, and we've seen that at the back end of last season with Naby Keita. When you dive into the analytical points of Naby Keita's game, he's absolutely fantastic, and he's still a player that has got a lot to offer Liverpool Football Club this season. Whatever does happen with his contract, we'll probably speak on that on another episode, but Nunes, he's very composed on the ball. We'll get to everyone's comments as well. But Sai, I don't thank you for tuning in, mate. As I said, I don't. The only people that will know are the people in the transfer committee in terms of Liverpool Football Club and Jurgen Klopp. And there was a great article by Paul Joyce a couple of weeks ago that he said if Liverpool. The only way Liverpool would go into for a player with it after obviously signing Nunes as well from Benfica is if any injuries did arise and more or less Liverpool's business is done. But never say never. As I said, the only people that do know are the people running the football club, most importantly, as well. As I said, this channel is a Liverpool news channel as well. We'll discuss the news, the rumours, and we'll call out the absolute nonsense as well. But obviously, of course, we're going to speak about rumours and news as well. So Simon, thank you for tuning in, mate. You'll be looking after yourself as well. Hello, lads. How are you doing, Andrew? You're absolute bloody legends. It's crazy pre-season. It is really for fitness and bedding in the players. The results don't matter really. 100% there, Paul, as well, innit? It's as we spoke about last year, Paul, and over the last couple of weeks as well. Um, Especially rival fans love to jump on the back of a big name. We've done it in the past. We've done it when Chelsea signed Lukaku, and probably a lot of every Chelsea fan thought they were going to win the league last year, and then the wheels fell off in their campaign, obviously because of their fullback injuries, and due to them playing quite poor in certain games as well. But regardless if they have fullbacks, but yeah, it's funny, mate. It's the ever-changing society in which we do live in, especially on social media. So many people live their lives on social media. I'm doing a show on social media as well, so there's the positives to the show as well. Positives of social media are fantastic, but sometimes there's a lot of negatives as well, as we know. Um, hey, how are you doing, Sandy? You're good, bro. Keep up. Thank you very much for your support, Sandy. As I said, obviously he's watching on Facebook. If you're not aware, and we have got a Facebook channel as well. If you want to follow my Facebook page, they're probably a lot better in terms of the notifications. But Sandy, thank you as always for tuning in, mate. And I know a lot of you do watch the content back on Facebook. So hello, everyone on Facebook. And hopefully you're looking after yourselves as well. Let me know what you've been doing, everyone today. Hope you've been looking after one another. Evening La is the Coke chilled? Yes, that's the good thing, Gary. Thank God I have got a chilled fridge in the corner of my room because I need it, especially tonight as well. But what have you been up to, Gary? Pretty sure you've been out in the garden having a couple of bevies anyway. Who thinks Ox is falling down the pecking order? For me, Paul, yeah, I do. As well, Luke or Ricky. Thank you for tuning in, mate, as well. I think Matheus Nunes is a very must midfielder. He could go far because he's starting to think about a move to England. As I said, on to top of the show. We quickly get through all your comments anyway, as well. Before we do get into the deep analytic data in terms of analysing Matheus Nunes, but before we do that, make sure you already have absolutely dropped a like on the video wherever you watch it on Facebook or YouTube as well. Massively does help out the channel as well. It takes 2 seconds if you are watching live. But I really do appreciate all your support. How we doing, Ravi? I'm not worried for Liverpool. We are stronger than ever. As we said, we got Jurgen Klopp anyway. Big up John as well. Dave's in the chat. I need to do a bloody show with you. You've been hiding for the last couple of weeks. I know you've been busy, as I said. But Dave, message me after the show, mate. We'll get a show together because it feels like forever. Dave's hiding from me anyway, but it feels like anyway. But Dave, hope you enjoyed the weather today, mate. I'm not too sure. Let us know what the weather was like in Ireland, mate. Big up, mates. Big up everyone as well. Ox is injured. Move on as well. But right, we'll get straight into the analytic data and what makes Matheus Nunes, Matheus or whatever you want to class him as. But firstly, we'll go straight into obviously the soccer men's. All these links and the data analysis points will be all in the comment section below as well. So if you want to, after this show has finished, you can jump into the details. All the links to all these websites will be in the description once we finish. But as you can see, he made 33 appearances for Sporting Lisbon last season. He's 23 years old, and he registered 3 goals. 3 goals and 2 assists for Sporting last season. And as you can see from his role, he's predominantly a more central midfielder with that attacking midfield position. He can play both of them. He's quite tall, 183 centimeters as well. So that's probably about, chat, let me know the conversion rate on that. It's probably, but let's have a quick look at Jude Bellingham before. How tall is Jude? Jude's 186. So yeah, he's only 3 centimeters smaller than Jude Bellingham anyway. So not too bad. So he's quite tallish. 23 years old as well. As you can see, his historical performances over the last 3 seasons, he's made 33 appearances. The season just gone, 3 goals, 2 assists, as I said. And in 2022-21 season, he made 31 appearances for Sporting Lisbon in the league. All the data analytic points are in the Portuguese Premier Liga. Similar stats, as I said, 3 goals, 2 assists as well. And in 2019-20 season, He would have been 20 years old then. He made 10 appearances for Sporting Lisbon, as I said, and obviously his season highlights. He was played as a midfielder for Sporting in the Premier League, and he made plenty. He has scored 3 goals, and he's already, and obviously with a pass accuracy of 86 percentile as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And we'll quickly dive into his stats wise in terms, obviously, last year as well. Direct goal involvements were 5. I don't know why that would. So as you can see, that's great. Closing. I'm giving you website some traffic here. Go away. As you can see, direct goal involvements were 5 minutes per goal, 856. He registered 22 shots in the Portuguese league last season. Shots on target were 6. Shot success ratio was 27.3 as well. Goal conversion rate was 13.6 as well. Build up and one-on-ones as well. As we said, is possession wise is a big aspect of his game that a lot of clubs do like. His pass success ratio is 86.2. And there is a tab. Well, we'll have a little look in terms of what that does to in comparison to Liverpool's current midfielders. We'll have a look at that at the back end of the show. It was interesting points in the likes of obviously how he compares in terms of his pass accuracy to the likes of Thiago, Naby, Ox Jones, and all those players as well. His dual success rate in terms of tackles was 55.4%. Attempted dribbles was 515 with a success ratio of 70.4. And obviously his aerial duels were 48 and aerial duel success rate was 43.8. So he's not that good in the air when you analyze that data as well. And a big overall point as well, as we can see here, Matheus Nunes, all competitions and goals scored. As I said, he assisted 2 goals in the 6 Champions League games last year as well. But in terms of obviously his 2 seasons, we've had a little look at that as well. And then we'll go into that one. But we compared him to Barella as well. Probably not a like-for-like player, but a player in which a lot of Liverpool fans would like to see, and most importantly, me, Barella. As we're saying, I'm comparing them to the 2021 season and obviously Barella's 2021-22 season. So as well, both made similar appearances. So I'll just zoom out here. Stairs and get a bigger picture. So yeah, you got Nicolo Barella. So both of them made in excess of 30 plus appearances in their domestic league. Nunes made 33 to Barella's 36. Minutes played, obviously Barella played an extra 400 odd minutes. But the one aspect in which Barella does strive in is in terms of his assists last season in the Italian league. The Italian did pick up 12 compared to obviously Matheus Nunes with his 2. Obviously Barella is 2 years older in terms of development as well. Barella's just 7 centimeters smaller as well. But in terms, it was a good chart, this, as you said. Role specific events in relation to obviously Barella's just slightly better in terms of his tackle success rate and recoveries. Barella's got a better recovery. Short passing, as I said, Barella just beats him just slightly. And his through ball success rate, very similar in terms of their through balls and the success rate. Chances created, Barella, off the back of last season compared in this season, in which the players did have, Barella is just 2 points up on Nunes, and a shot on target. Barella's just got 1 bar more, a bit more as well. As I said at the top of the show, the one thing aspect in which Matheus Nunes does thrive in is in those dribble success rates as well. Very similar in terms of their long range passing in terms of last season as well. Long pass accuracy, as you can see there as well. And then we'll go on to the comparison to Jude Bellingham as well. Let's read out a lot more in terms of your comments as well. As I said, opposition fans love to discredit our squad when we would love to have the quality when they would love to have the quality in which we have as well. 100% there, Avi. We love it, mate. Absolutely bloody love it as well. You and Connor live at the same time. Again, really, John, I'll tell you what, Connor just needs to jump on my show, doesn't he? Because we're probably doing the exact same show. I haven't even looked at Connor's title. But yeah, as I said, I did do a survey on what time was best for everyone, and it was 9 p.m. So we're going to go live anyway. So yeah, you can watch my video instead. Dave, evening as well. Where would he play? He's predominantly a central midfielder, Gary, and he can play in that central attacking area as well. But as you can see from the stats here, Matheus Nunes compared to Jude Bellingham. Obviously, the mad thing about Jude Bellingham is he's still 18 years old, which is quite frightening when you actually look at how good he is in terms of his development as well. There's 1 second whilst I zoom out of that. But in terms of his dribbling, obviously Matheus Nunes probably comes on top of that. Bellingham's attacking side of his game, probably much better in terms of their game vision, much better in terms of passing, quite similar. Matheus Nunes is just ever so slightly, but physicality, Matheus Nunes comes out on top compared to Jude Bellingham in terms of his the ground duels and everything, and obviously defending very similar as well. Is that on? Is that there? But yeah, interesting in terms of obviously defending. Zoom out there. Defending very similar Barella, so that's interesting to actually see. And obviously heading, Jude Bellingham comes out on top, as we were discussing with Matheus Nunes. That's one of the aspects that he's not that strong at. But interesting, as you can see here, the stats-wise in comparison to Bellingham and Matheus Nunes, you can have a little look at that. You can pause the video, have a little look of what you make in terms of that. And obviously the data analytical points in terms of Liverpool throughout the season, when you have a little quick deep dive. We'll probably do another show on this in terms of the big games and the points that were dropped throughout the season as well. But the final point that we'll discuss tonight as well, as I said just before, comparing obviously Matheus Nunes in relation, as Eamon's just saying there, both over 6 foot. Eamon, that's one thing and one aspect which Liverpool, unless we're playing, obviously, what was a great aspect of what Steven Gerrard was. He was quite tall, 6'1", 6'2". Anyway, Steven Gerrard, very mobile. When Fabinho doesn't play, we lack quite a lot of height. But the one thing about Jude Bellingham, as he's saying there, Eamon's both big physical players, but most importantly, the one thing about Matheus Nunes is he's very composed on the ball and he's able to dribble. Obviously, Naby, very different in terms of physique, but in terms of stats-wise, one thing that Naby and Nunes do well is that ball retention in terms of keeping all the ball in tight spaces and everything. So, interesting. But we were having a look at Matheus Nunes stats-wise, weren't we, chat? And these are the stats comparing him. Obviously, we look at Thiago Alcantara off the back of last season. He registered a 89.1% pass accuracy as well. And then another midfielder, Fabinho, obviously the holding role, 87.5 pass accuracy. Jordan Henderson, an 85.5 pass accuracy. Naby Keita, very similar in terms of pass accuracy from last season, 86%. And obviously James Milner with quite a high percentage style in terms of the ball, the pass accuracy. So interesting times, Reds. As I said, it was only going to be a little short episode, but hopefully this will give you a bit more insight into in terms of what Matheus Nunes, not just for Liverpool, but other players around other teams looking at this lad. He's a hot prospect, as I said. I haven't seen a lot of him, but having a look at the data and analysis on this show, he's got a lot of attributes. Whether that's Liverpool, only time will tell. As I said, don't think we will sign him, but it wouldn't surprise me in terms of the analytical data. And I tell you what, I'd love, and I think all of us would love to see the groundwork in which does go into signing players, as well as obviously the physical, medical for these players, but obviously the data points and everything. I bet you if you went into Michael Edwards' room when he was at Liverpool and Julian Ward's, he probably got walls covered of every good points and obviously the bad points of players as well. So enjoy it. But everyone, let me know your thoughts if you are watching on the repeat as well. Paul, as well, decent stats as well. But most important thing is they do it on the pitch. And I think, as Gary and a lot of you were saying, chat, if Liverpool go into this season, and it was a great aspect about Naby Keita, he was fit the back end of last season, quite large periods. We got the best out of Joel Matip as well. Joel Matip and Van Dijk are Liverpool's first choice starting 11. In terms of minutes played, Matip played the second most of Liverpool's centre halves in the Premier League. So it's fantastic when our best players like Matip as well. If Naby can stay fit and he adds a better, consistent level of performances, I'm pretty sure, and we all know, his level of performances would go up, Naby. But you're holding your breath every single season, hoping that Naby does stay fit. And hopefully things have changed. As we said, back of the season, he was injury free. Touch wood, everyone. But if he was this season, he's going to be playing a massive part in this Liverpool team. But it's whether, if similar with Ox, when Ox went down, as we spoke about last night, I think Jurgen Klopp, as we were saying on the lads on the 1892 Reds podcast when he had Jamie on, Jurgen Klopp will be banging his head against the wall with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. All of us are. We're like, come on, lad. You are taking the mickey. Another injury, but a muscular injury as well. And you never know if Liverpool were to get a couple of injuries in our midfield this season, especially if we were to lose a player, obviously, in Thiago Alcantara. He is Liverpool's best midfielder alongside Fabinho. We all know that. Harvey Elliott will probably be one of Liverpool's first choice three anyway. As we've seen at the beginning of last season, it was Elliott, Thiago, and Fabinho in that midfield three. And I think it will be the same case this season. And then you're throwing in, obviously, Carvalho. Be interesting to see how Jurgen Klopp does deploy him in Liverpool's midfield. There has been a lot of talk, potentially a Liverpool change of midfield formation. Yes, we could probably do that. It depends on, obviously, the opposition and obviously the scenarios throughout the game. But we have got those options. We've got a couple of 10s that we can throw on. But the more options Liverpool have, and obviously the players in which we do recruit, I can't wait. But the most important thing is, Reds, the season is only round the corner. We are playing RB Leipzig very soon. That is going to be getting played on the 21st of July, so only a couple of days away from that. Man Alive has a great question. Man Alive, everyone has great questions. Ox has asked to move on. I think we're all in concurred, agree with that, Gary. If Ox did sign a contract, Gary, I think all of us would be very, very surprised anyway. If Ox doesn't get a pre-season in, will he struggle for match fitness? Maybe 100% there, Paul. Anyway, season's gone by, Liverpool, as we know, we've not been that successful in the FA Cup or the League Cup. But last season, we were absolutely fantastic. It was helped by a couple of draws, were quite favourable as well. And fingers crossed, we're a bit more favourable in terms of our draws this season in the FA Cup and the League Cup. But obviously, the main priorities, as we know, but it's a bang-on point there. Paul, is if everyone's fully fit, Ox doesn't even get near our midfield three. And that's there's no beating around the bush. It is like he's not going to get ahead of, obviously, Thiago. He's not going to get ahead of Fabinho as well. He's not even going to get ahead of Harvey Elliott and Jordan Henderson as well, and Naby Keita if he is fit. So he probably will be 5th, 6th, 7th choice midfielder. But yeah, as we were saying last night, and I spoke to a couple of people as well, I just love Jay Spearing to play one game for Liverpool just to trigger a whole lot of Twitter. Whether that be in an FA Cup or League Cup game. Obviously, I don't even know if he can legally. I know he's a player manager. Well, player manager in the under 23s, under 21s anyway. So, yeah, that just absolutely set Twitter off on new levels anyway. But everyone, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, everyone. If you are watching on the repeat, do get your comments in as well, most importantly. Absolute bloody legends. And as I said, top of the show, all these links and everything to all the data and analytic points as well. And there's a couple of sites that I will drop in the description that you can compare to other midfielders. I know I've only done it to Barella and Jude Bellingham, mainly because those are two very world-class players. Obviously, Jude Bellingham's still only 18, 19 years old anyway, so he's still got a lot of development. And when you are comparing an 18-year-old to a 23-year-old as well, the FB ref comparisons are compared. But I'd probably get up on another show, not at the minute, because we're closing now. But if you compare on FB ref Naby Keita when he was 23 years old to Matheus Nunes, in terms of when he's played for Sporting Lisbon, they're kind of similar. Obviously, Naby had the great seasons before he did move to Liverpool. But yeah, it's the thing about comparing and contrasting players at different ages. As we know, all of us have watched football for so many years that some players peak quite early, like a Jude Bellingham, and the projection in terms of their career is absolutely massive. And certain other players, a good point is Jamie Vardy, obviously playing in the lower leagues, and when he's come to the Premier League, he's really thrived. So doesn't compare certain players in their age development as a footballer. Some of them do peak a lot more later. So interesting times ahead, Reds. But thank you most importantly to every single one of you for tuning in. Absolute bloody legends as well. And thanks to the stream, mates. No, most importantly to Paul Amons as well. John, Dave as well. I think Dave's disappeared again. Gary, and obviously the 1892 Reds podcaster as well. And Andrew as well. I do know every single one of you that do tune in, day out. But most importantly, if you are watching on the post-match, make sure you smash that like button as well. Not the post-match, the post. When the videos be post-stream anyway. I know a lot of you can't jump on the stream straight away. But everyone, enjoy your Monday. Look after yourselves. Keep well. And if you are in the UK, drink loads of water and everything because it's absolutely boiling today, wasn't it? But it's meant to be much hotter than today. So put your feet out the window of your car or whatnot. Try and get some good shade. I tell you what, I tried to get a little bit of a tan today, but it doesn't help. I hardly go out the door anyway. But everyone, look after yourselves. I will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. as well. Most importantly, as always, Reds, look after yourself and thank you for tuning in. You never walk alone. And the Reds, it's nearly the start of the Premier League. Go on.